Hello, and welcome to Family Tree Sagas. We are excited to share the true tales from our own diverse family tree and to remind you that every family tree has its own incredible sagas. These narratives, richly painted with meticulous genealogical research and AI-enhanced creativity, celebrate the legacies that forge our identities. Explore the enchanting Sicilian Sagas, uncover the depths of northern Mexico with the Allende Chronicles, and venture into the heart of dispatches from the disputed Texas territories. Each story is a piece of a much larger puzzle, just like the stories in your own tree. So, let's set sail on this journey of discovery together, celebrating the sagas that connect us all.
The Allende Chronicles, in search of de la Garza, Allende's son, Ventura de la Garza in the winds of tradition and change. Introduction, mid-1880s, Allende, Coahuila. In the quaint town of Allende, nestled in the heart of Coahuila, the story of Ventura de la Garza begins to unfold. Born in 1863, Ventura's early years were marked by the rustic simplicity of rural Mexico, a life deeply intertwined with the traditions and rhythms of the land. The loss of his mother cast a shadow over his youth, but as the years passed, resilience and hope sprouted from the depths of sorrow. As Ventura stepped into manhood, his path crossed with Maria del Refugio Ramirez, a union predestined by fate and family ties. Maria, with her youthful innocence and spirited grace, brought a new light into Ventura's life. Their courtship, steeped in the customs of their ancestors, was a dance of subtle glances and unspoken promises, set against the backdrop of Allende's sun-drenched landscapes. In the fabric of their everyday lives, the rituals of courtship and marriage reflected the broader tapestry of Mexican society during the Porfiriato, a time of change yet rooted in tradition. As Ventura and Maria navigated the complexities of love, family, and societal expectations, their story became a mirror to the evolving world around them, capturing the essence of an era poised between the old and the new. Agricultural shifts and economic challenges, early 1900s, Ventura's farm. As the 20th century dawned, Ventura de la Garza's life was deeply entwined with the land. The soil of Coahuila, once yielding only to traditional farming methods, began to whisper promises of change. New agricultural techniques, introduced during the Porfiriato, promised higher yields and the potential for prosperity. Ventura, ever the pragmatist, cautiously embraced these innovations, balancing between the allure of progress and the wisdom of tradition. However, this era of agricultural transformation was not without its trials. The encroachment of land reforms began to reshape the rural landscape, igniting tensions over land ownership and usage. Ventura found himself navigating a precarious path, as the community around him grappled with the shifting dynamics of power and property. Despite these challenges, the de la Garza family persevered, their daily lives a testament to resilience. They adapted, learning to cultivate new crops and employ modern techniques, while still honoring the rhythms of the earth that had sustained their ancestors. This period of transition was not merely about survival but about finding a new harmony with the land. In the broader context of Mexican society, Ventura's experiences mirrored those of many rural families. The agricultural shifts of the Porfiriato brought both opportunities and obstacles, reshaping the fabric of rural life. As Ventura and his family adapted to these changes, their story became a reflection of the resilience and adaptability inherent in the Mexican spirit. Educational reforms and aspirations, late 1890s, Allende's school. The winds of change brought by the Porfiriato were felt not just in the fields of Allende but within its burgeoning educational institutions. Ventura, now a father to a growing brood, witnessed the transformative power of education as Mexico embarked on a journey of enlightenment and reform. The establishment of rural schools reflected a national push towards literacy and learning, a beacon of progress Ventura eagerly embraced for his children. Lisandro, Ventura's eldest, along with his siblings, stepped through the schoolhouse doors, entering a world vastly different from the one their parents knew. Here, amidst the scent of ink and the rustle of pages, they were introduced to new ideas and a broader worldview, a stark contrast to the traditional knowledge passed down through generations. This era of educational reform, while promising, was not without its disparities. The de la Garza children, like many of their peers, navigated a curriculum that straddled the line between the preservation of Mexican heritage and the adoption of foreign pedagogies. For Ventura and Maria, this represented both an opportunity and a challenge, as they hoped for their children to advance beyond the confines of agrarian life without losing their cultural roots. The narrative of the de la Garza family in this transformative period highlights the broader societal shifts under the Porfiriato. Education, once a privilege of the few, became a tool for social mobility and change, shaping the aspirations and destinies of families across Mexico. Ventura, with his deep ties to tradition yet eyes set on the future, embodied the complex interplay between heritage and progress that marked this pivotal era. Cultural shifts and modernity combined with public health initiatives, early 1900s. As the 20th century unfolded, Ventura de la Garza's Allende was a town caught between epochs. The arrival of new technologies and ideas under the Porfiriato ushered in an era of cultural shifts that permeated even the most remote corners of Mexico. The de la Garza household, once isolated from the rapid modernization of urban centers, found itself amidst a sea of change. Phonographs and railroads, symbols of modernity, made their way into the daily lives of the townspeople, bringing with them a sense of wonder and unease. Ventura, ever cautious, viewed these innovations with a mix of skepticism and curiosity. Meanwhile, his children, particularly young Federico and Rafaela, were captivated by the new world unfolding before them, a world that promised connectivity and progress. Amidst these cultural transformations, public health initiatives began to reshape the community's landscape. The introduction of vaccination campaigns and sanitation measures marked a significant departure from traditional healing practices. Ventura, who had witnessed the ravages of disease on his community, cautiously welcomed these changes. The improved health and increased life expectancy of his children and neighbors stood as testaments to the benefits of modern medicine. This period of cultural and health advancements reflected the broader national efforts to modernize Mexico. For the de la Garza family, these changes brought about a re-evaluation of old beliefs and practices, fostering a delicate balance between the allure of the new and the comfort of the familiar. As Allende transformed, so too did Ventura's understanding of progress, health, and cultural identity, mirroring the nation's journey towards a modern future. Border tensions and national identity, early 1900s, de la Garza household. In the early 1900s, the tranquility of Ventura de la Garza's life was occasionally marred by the distant echoes of border tensions. The delineation between Mexico and the United States, a line that ran not just through the land but through the hearts of many, became a source of growing concern and contemplation for the de la Garza family. As news of disputes and treaties trickled into Allende, Ventura found himself and his family at a crossroads of identity and allegiance. The discussions around their humble dinner table often veered into debates on nationality, sovereignty, and the future of their homeland. These conversations were not merely academic, they were deeply personal, reflecting the family's struggles and aspirations in a region marked by historical conflicts and changing allegiances. The impact of these geopolitical tensions on the de la Garza family highlighted a common narrative among borderland families of the time. The fluctuating dynamics between Mexico and the United States influenced not only land and politics but also the cultural and personal identities of those living in the shadow of the border. For Ventura, these were not distant political issues, they were realities that shaped his family's daily existence and their place within a nation grappling with its own identity. The rise of labor movements and social awakening. As the first decade of the 20th century came to a close, the de la Garza family found themselves amidst a burgeoning wave of social change. The labor movements, gaining momentum across Mexico, began to resonate deeply within the community of Allende, and inevitably, within the walls of Ventura's home. 1910, a year marked by unrest and the stirrings of revolution, saw Ventura's nephew, Carlos, a miner influenced by the burgeoning labor movement, bring the fervor of change directly to their doorstep. His passionate tales of strikes and demands for workers' rights ignited a spark within Ventura's eldest sons, Lisandro and Federico, who had begun to question the long-standing disparities they witnessed daily. The discussions that ensued were charged with a new sense of urgency and possibility. Ventura, witnessing his son's growing involvement, felt a complex blend of pride and apprehension. the ideals of justice and equity resonated with his own desires for a fairer world for his children, yet the prospect of conflict and upheaval brought a tangible sense of fear. The narrative of the de la Garza family during this period encapsulates the personal impact of national movements on individual lives. As Ventura grappled with his children's burgeoning activism, the family dynamic shifted, reflecting the broader social awakening sweeping through Mexico. The year 1910 marked not just the beginning of the Mexican Revolution but a pivotal moment in the de la Garza family saga, as they navigated the intersecting currents of personal belief, familial bonds, and the inexorable tide of history. Conclusion. The end of an era, Ventura and the closing of the Porfiriato. As 1912 dawned, Ventura de la Garza stood amidst the fields that had borne witness to his life's labors, reflecting on the profound changes that had swept through his beloved Mexico. This year marked not only the end of the Porfiriato, a period that had shaped the very fabric of Mexican society, but also the passing of his father, Victor, a man whose legacy was as deeply rooted in the soil of Allende as the ancient mesquite trees. The death of Victor de la Garza, a patriarch whose life had spanned the tumultuous shifts of Mexican history, symbolized the closing of a significant chapter for Ventura and his family. It was a moment of poignant reflection, a time to mourn not just a father, but the passing of an old world that had cradled their existence. Victor's passing, in the shadow of the Porfiriato's fall, mirrored the transformative journey of a nation grappling with its identity and future. For Ventura, these dual endings marked a profound personal and historical crossroads. The principles and struggles of his father's generation, shaped in the crucible of an older Mexico, were giving way to new ideals, as the Mexican Revolution promised a renaissance of justice and equality. Ventura found himself bridging two worlds, the one he inherited and the one he would bequeath to his children. In this moment of transition, Ventura's reflections were a microcosm of the national consciousness. The legacy of the Porfiriato, with its advancements and inequalities, its dreams and its disillusionments, was giving way to a new era. Ventura, like Mexico, stood on the brink of change, poised between the memories of the past and the possibilities of the future. The end of 1912 was not just a farewell to a father and an era but a quiet heralding of the dawn of a new chapter in the de la Garza family saga, intertwined with the destiny of a nation on the cusp of revolution. In this poignant intersection of personal loss and national upheaval, Ventura's story encapsulates the enduring heart of Mexico. A heart that beats with the legacy of the past and the promise of tomorrow.
Thank you so much for listening to this Family Tree Saga. We know your time is precious. Please like, subscribe, and look for more at familytreesagas.com.